What's up? What's up? I'm reiterating stuff that I've heard before from other people, but this is super important. I think this is something that men, including me until recently, don't understand, and it's super important. Okay, so we always say, "Oh, women like assholes. Assholes get laid," right? All men know that somehow the guy that you don't like that much, or the guy that's kind of a douchebag, whatever, he gets more play than you do, and you're the like decent guy, and so guys always think, well, women just like assholes, women like, but okay, but this is why I have to make this video. It's not purely that women like assholes and want to sleep with assholes. It's just assholes do certain things that normal guys don't do. So you don't have to be an asshole, at least not totally an asshole. So, number one thing that assholes do that you need to do more of is say no, be disagreeable. Disagreeableness is masculine, agreeableness is feminine. So, you have to say no sometimes. So, it's so easy. Just say no when you don't want to do something with your girl. When you don't agree with something with your girl, don't agree, and don't and be unapologetic about it. Um, Number two, your vocal tone is very important because women are emotional, right? And this is actually something that you need to understand with everything with women, with everything you say with women. Women are emotional, men are logical. So men listen to the words, women are listening to the emotional content. So, of course, body language, facial expressions, but also your tone of voice. This is super important for men to understand. So if you act like a normal guy, like, okay, when you're at work, you have to act, generally speaking, you have to, if you work in an office, you have to do the normal thing, right? When you see your friends, generally it depends, but most men do the normal thing, like, hey, how you doing? Oh yeah, mm-hmm. Like anytime you're acting nerdy, normal, polite, that's not gonna get you laid. So when you talk to women or talk to your woman, you have to be a little more raw, be more caveman, be more rough around the edges. Not only does it give her something to change, even though you don't really change, but it gives her a project in her mind and it's more interesting. But no, but most importantly, she's getting the emotional information from what you say. So instead of saying like explaining yourself and saying like, "Oh, honey, you did this, but I really want you to do this because of this, and this is my boundary." And that's how you explain to a man, respectfully, politely. But a woman's not going to respect that because she's not a man. She's not your equal. She's physically below you, and she expects you to take care of issues physically, like if someone attacks you or if someone confronts you verbally, socially. See, right? So this is very important. So you have to verbally dominate your girl in some ways, show dominance over your girl because she needs, because she's afraid and she constantly needs assurance that you are going to and still able to. That's why she has to keep testing you all the time to see if you can verbally dominate or verbally take charge, we'll say, whenever there's confrontations in the world between you and another man or whatever. And she's behind you, see? And then your baby, if you have one, is behind your girl. That's the order of things. First you, You're the leader and you have to be the tough guy. You have to be the firewall. Okay, so that's why when women test you, they always will test you too. Okay, I don't care if you're married, you're still going to get these tests. And all you got to do is just be a little bit rough around the edges sometimes, you know. Don't be polite all the time. Like, so if she's crossing a boundary, you're just like, hey, no, man, I don't like that. Don't do that. It's kind of it's fatherly, right? It's like typical father. And this modern world has completely removed that from most guys because they have been telling guys to not do that. Don't be an asshole. Toxic masculinity. No, masculinity in that way, like rough, kind of uh, stern masculinity, that's what keeps the world in order. That's what keeps structure. That's what you're going to have to do when you have a kid. So if you can't, if so, your woman, subconsciously at least, wants to see that you can do that to her. First of all, so that you can do that to whoever's confronting you guys as a family, but also you can do that to your kid so that you can raise a good man or a strong woman, etc. So you got to be stern, and it's all about vocal tone. And you don't have to be loud either. Just like, hey, no. And then you have to be firm. She's going to keep testing you. So not only do you say it that way, but if she starts pushing more that moment or later, you have to just keep that boundary. You don't explain the boundary, you just keep the boundary, right? You don't say, honey, my boundary is here, and once you go over here, no. Explaining is not masculine. Seeking validation is not masculine. So you don't explain yourself, you express yourself. So as soon as you know where the boundary is, as soon as she goes over it, you always know, that's where I'm done. And if she keeps doing it, and even especially if she's being disrespectful, then you definitely have to give her shade. You got to give her shade. You got to turn your back to her physically and as far as giving her attention. And you have to just be a bit of an asshole in that way, because that's how you do it. You have to communicate with action and the way you treat her. And then after that, you just be like, okay, let's take a break. I'm not into you, right? I'm not into you. Like, you have to be willing to walk away. Okay? A woman is the one that should be chasing you. So if you're worried about her leaving you, well, then that's the worst kind of chasing her. The kind of chasing of, please don't leave me. That's the worst. That's the most extreme version of chasing. You're not chasing her to get her attention. You're not chasing her for a date. You're not chasing her for sex. You're chasing her for, please don't leave me. That's the most extreme and the most pathetic. So, and that's just how it goes. And so the more emotional you are, the more needy you are. Needy ultimately would be you not wanting her to leave you. That's the most needy you could be, right? So you have to be aware of that. Neediness is not just in the beginning of the relationship when you're texting her too much. Once you start falling in love with her, don't show it too much. Show it by just being there. You're the leader, like I've said many times. Put it this way. Your woman is constantly afraid, and you're the protection for her. So she always tests you to make sure that she's still protected. Women are neurotic. She's not just testing you all the time to annoy you. She's testing you because she's showing you the mind of a woman. The woman is constantly afraid and constantly not sure. So she's always going to have to keep testing, even though you've proved that you are a strong leader, etc. Okay, so let's say you have a rope around your waist and you guys are climbing up a Himalayan mountain. And the rope goes around, and then after that it goes around her waist. And then after that it goes around your baby's waist. You're first. That's why you can't always pay attention to your woman and cater to her emotionally, etc. Sometimes, but you can't, because you know why? Because she's thinking about you like this. If you keep, if you're the leader and you're in the front, if you keep churning back, you're endangering her and your baby or future baby. So you can't keep changing. You got to ignore her sometimes. You got to be busy sometimes. You got to focus on your job sometimes, career, your mission, researching. That's you not churning toward her all the time. And then sometimes she's like, "Oh, I want to go on a date. How come you never?" Sometimes you say, "Well, I don't give a fuck. I have things to do." Tone, vocal tone again. And then sometimes you do, but you don't always. You- She's gonna say things just to see if you bend to her, especially if you do it all the time, and then that's gonna just kill it for her attraction for you. That's why nice, normal, polite guys don't get sex. Peace.